Okay, we will go ahead and get started. So good afternoon and welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's community forum for Paradise Valley Community College's Vice President of Academic Affairs Search. We are excited to have you with us. My name is Dr. Versha Anderson and I am Communication Faculty and the current Faculty Senate President at PVCC and a Tri-Chair for the search. I'm joined by my fellow Tri-Chairs, Dr. Stella Perez, Vice President of Academic Affairs at Rio Salado College, and Mr. Wilbert Nelson, Dean of Arts and Sciences at Phoenix College. As a reminder, each forum is being recorded and the recordings will be posted to the search site at the completion of today's forum. We do ask for those joining us virtually to please turn off your cameras or videos. Before we begin, we want to inform you all that live captioning and American Sign Language interpretation are available via WebEx. Thank you to Tiffany Jones and LaDonna Gabrielson for serving as our ASL interpreters. For those joining virtually, you can pin Tiffany Jones and LaDonna Gabrielson to your personal screens as needed. Next, to provide an overview of today's forum, each finalist will have 15 minutes to explain how their background, expertise, and experiences have prepared them to be the Vice President of Academic Affairs at PVCC. Then we will open it up to questions from our in-person and virtual attendees for 15 minutes. Mr. Justin Johnston and Mr. Wilbert Nelson will moderate the virtual chat, and in-person attendees will be invited to come up to the microphone with their question. After the Q&A period, finalists will be given 5 minutes to provide closing thoughts and remarks. At the conclusion of the forum, a feedback form will be made available. Thank you again for joining us. Now I'd like to officially welcome Dr. Amardeep Kahlon. My apologies, Kahlon. Dr. Amardeep Kahlon is committed to the mission of community colleges and has served in community colleges for over 2 decades. Her previous roles include faculty, dean, assistant dean, faculty senate secretary, consultant, and researcher. She has dedicated her career to designing, delivering, evaluating, and managing high-quality, equitable, multimodality, robust, and flexible programs focused on access and outcomes. In addition, she has rich experiences in cross-functional collaboration and working across the board with industry and other institutions. Further, she has provided strategic leadership to develop bachelor's degrees at the community college. Being a strategic thinker, Dr. Kahlon is committed to intentionally designing innovation that benefits all learners, the institution, the community, and the employer. She has provided statewide leadership in Texas for developing innovative models focusing on time to completion, cost, and better learner outcomes. In addition, she has extensive experience writing and managing state and federal grants. Dr. Kahlon's various honors include being profiled as a top 10 innovator by the Chronicle of Higher Education and multiple teaching excellence awards. In addition, she serves on the board of directors of the Competency-Based Education Network. Dr. Kahlon holds a doctorate in higher education leadership from the University of Texas at Austin and a master's degree in computer science from Binghamton University. Dr. Kahlon, welcome. Again, you will have 15 minutes to explain how your background, expertise, and experiences have prepared you to be the Vice President of Academic Affairs at Paradise Valley Community College. Dr. Stella Perez will serve as our timekeeper and will alert you when there are 5 minutes left and again when there is 1 minute left. With that, I will go ahead and turn it over to you.
Well, thank you, Versha. Thank you for that introduction. I'm so pleased to meet everyone here today. And I really want to thank the Paradise Valley community for such a warm welcome since this morning. It's been absolutely amazing. So I'm going to get into my background, expertise, experiences, and I'm going to weave it like a story, how I got to this place. Well, firstly, we start out with our core values. My core values really coincide with those of an academic leader and very well aligned with Paradise Valley Community College. For example, respect, empathy, empowerment, innovation. Where did it all start? As the song goes, let's start at the very beginning. What a very good way to start. So it started as a faculty member. I was I joined community colleges way back when my son was 2 years old. I was before that working at IBM as a programmer, and I decided that I really wanted to be in education. My mother was always an educator, and she was a good leader in adult education, and that's what I wanted to follow. So I was at Broome Community College as a faculty member, and after that, got moved to Austin, Texas by IBM. My husband was still with IBM at the time and continued with Austin Community College. So what was in my experience as a faculty member that progressively led up to where I am today? Well, as a faculty member, besides teaching classes, which all faculty members do, I was in committee leadership. I led curriculum committees. I led committees for hiring, committees for material selection, program development. I was mentoring and advising, but always committed to the learner, and always mentoring and advising the learner, and always working towards their success. And I'm going to tell you the story of Melanie. Melanie was my student, and in computer science, which I was in, there's a big dearth of women in the field. And Melanie was one of the few female students in my class. She was one of the 3 females. Stopped coming to class one day, and then I got the notification from the registrar saying that she had dropped the class. Ran into her, luckily, 2 days later in the hallway. I said, Melanie, what happened? She said, oh, I just couldn't handle it. I'm a single mom, I have 2 kids. I'm looking after my mother. I just couldn't do it. I said, she's not going to come back next semester. I said, well, guess what? Newsflash. Next semester, I'm still going to be a professor, and next semester, the workload is going to be the same. So it's not going to change. If you come back next semester, it's not going to be easier. I said, I need you back in my class. She said, but I've already withdrawn. I said, well, let me reinstate you. So I worked with the registrar, got her reinstated. Cutting a long story short, she made an A in the class. Forgot about her. She went our different ways. 10 years later, I get an email saying, you don't remember me. I'm Melanie, but you helped me stay in the class. I graduated. I made out with a 3.5 GPA. I was so impressed with the community college that now I'm working at UCC. And she was in a department. I actually drove there, went to see her. So that was part of my motivation, is looking at these learners who were so scared, who were otherwise underserved, and helping them complete and moving on with the rest of their lives. I also provided leadership in the competency-based program under the Create Adjustment Act grant. I've served as, opportunities presented themselves to grow professionally, and as a result, grow personally as well through that. So then the opportunity came along to serve as assistant department chair. And as assistant department chair, I was involved in various things, scheduling, evaluations, and peer review of curriculum, looking at curriculum development, doing professional faculty development, and again, student advising all the time. After that, I served as assistant dean, and Austin Community College is a huge college. It's got over 70,000 students, so an assistant dean level position would be equivalent to a dean level position at a smaller college. So I was working in a very innovative department, and as part of my assistant dean, I was also working with the bachelor's program, setting up the bachelor's program, and in that, looking at what were all the processes, what was required of the bachelor's program, providing faculty development, because we had told the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board that our bachelor's program was going to be competency-based. So providing that CBE training to faculty, and also as part of my assistant dean duties, I was also leading the Women in Technology program. We had a great dearth of women in our program. I led that, and we had a significant increase in the number of women graduating from our program. Also, as part of our competency-based programs, which was our accelerated programmer training, which was set up to serve 350 learners when it was first set up, has ended up till today serving over 1,800 learners. During the duration of the grant, it had already served over 1,000 learners. And it was an honor building all those programs. It was an honor to be selected as the leader to build some of those programs and lead some of those efforts. And I do believe that those are some of the things that prepared me to move on to every next level. In 2015, I had a fantastic opportunity come my way, and that was to provide statewide leadership in Texas. It wasn't just restricted to an institution, although it was tied to an institution, but the leadership was statewide in the Fast Track to Success project. The Fast Track to Success project was almost $900,000 in grant money through the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board. This was federal grants that I wrote, and with our grants department, of course, and these grants were awarded. As part of that, I provided mentoring to at least 8 community colleges and 2 universities. And the mentoring was about setting up innovative, flexible, low-cost, accelerated models of delivery of education, which enabled the learners to graduate at an accelerated pace and keep their costs down. It was absolutely fantastic. I went around the state. I met with so many administrators. I met with faculty. I ran workshops. And as part of that, I founded and chaired the state's first and only conference on innovation and competency-based education and in generic innovation. And when I first started the conference, it was the grant that I wrote to the coordinating board. I wrote anticipated number of attendees. I wrote between 20 and 50. And I thought, if I gave people $20 each, maybe I'll get 50 people to come to this. Nobody knew about this conference, what it was. Well, in the first year, I got somebody to underwrite the whole conference, so there was no cost to my project for holding that conference, and I got 150 attendees in the first year. So the conference ran for 4 years, and in the final year, I had 520 attendees. And each time I was able to get sponsorships and get them almost free. So my other thing that prepares me for this role is I've always been an innovator and a builder. I went to India in 2013 on a sabbatical and helped build up a new university. I'm at Unity College right now building up the Technical Institute for Environmental Professions. So I've been able to get programs from the ground up, get them successful. I've been able to work collaboratively across different offices of a college or a university. I've been able to break down those silos, build trust. I have experience in accreditation through being a core member of an accreditation visit team. And I also have experience in shared governance, which is very important. For 2 years, I was secretary of the Faculty Senate at Austin Community College. And as secretary of the Faculty Senate, I totally understood what was required of shared governance. I have rich experience in grants, having written and been awarded many, many grants. Like I told you, the Fast Track to Success grant was one of them. Another grant was where I worked with another institution, and that was a grant that was given by the College for All Texans Foundation, and that grant was for offering the affordable baccalaureate, which was the under $10,000 baccalaureate degree at the community college. So we worked together. I was a co-lead on that grant. I have worked on written and worked on NSF grants, which are really lucrative grants, National Science Foundation. So I have rich experiences in that. I serve on the board of directors of the Competency-Based Education Network. I started in 2018, was re-nominated to the board and got back on the board again. And so my term ends in 2024, but it's been amazing to work there because we look at how to grow CBE and how to provide skilled workers to employers, and also how to ensure that what learners are learning, they have mastery of what they're learning. My big expertise lies in workforce development. I have worked in workforce development for pretty much my entire career, working with career and technology programs, and even now at Unity College, developing workforce programs like veterinary technology, like veterinary care and management, sustainable agriculture, and cannabis operations management, for example. So these are some of my past experiences. I am, like I said, a collaborator. I build trust. I talk to everyone. I involve everyone right from the beginning in decision making. And I'm a big believer in no silos. Everybody has to work together for the common good. I'm committed to the learner, to the underserved learner, to the learner who's heard all their life that college is not for you, or to the learner who's coming back from being out of college for whatever reason, to the learner who's got a few college credits but never finished, said, I give up, this is not for me. I'm committed to open education resources. I'm committed to having diversity in faculty. And I was a trainer actually at ACC for diversity in faculty hiring, where I was training other faculty as they served on committees. So these are some of my accomplishments and past experiences in academics, which I do believe prepare me for a career as Vice President of Academic Affairs at Paradise Valley. And I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
So thank you. Thank you, Dr. Kahlon. We will now open it up to questions for 15 minutes. Again, in-person attendees are invited to come up to the microphone, and virtual attendees may submit questions via the WebEx chat. Mr. Justin Johnston and Mr. Wilbert Nelson will moderate the virtual chat.
Can I go?
Yes, of course.
I'll have to bend over here. Hi, I'm Dr. Carter. I'm CIS faculty, and I was often that only woman in the IT shop for a long time. I worked in industry. So when I worked in industry as a manager, I often had a difficult time. The most difficult and challenging part of my leadership was when I got directive from someone above me, and then I had to impart it down to a lower level. We're a centralized system. Mm-hmm. How will you lead your constituents, and in this case, that would be faculty? How will you lead your constituents, maintain goodwill, and implement the directive from a district that may not be popular among your constituents? Thank you.
That's a great point. Thank you. Thanks for that question. And I do hear you about being the only woman in the room sometimes. In a system, when you have a system and there is a district, there are going to be directives that come down that are not popular. One way to implement them is to send out an email to everyone, this is what the district has said, we're doing this. Another way to implement is go and meet with the faculty heads, go and meet with the area heads and talk to them and have a conversation with them, or call a meeting and say, this is the directive that has come down from the district, and how can we go about implementing it? And if people say, well, I don't like it, well, yes, I understand that you don't like it, but let's talk about a way to implement it so that we are able to move forward with the success of the learner. it all starts with talking to people and being open and transparent in your communications, and also being willing to listen to the concerns of people. You know, while the directive has to be implemented, it does not mean that you don't listen to the concerns of somebody who may not be happy with it. Listen to the concerns, acknowledge the concerns, and find a way to move forward with implementing it, because we know it has to be implemented. And that's the way to move forward. Have many conversations, have open communication and frequent communication with your constituents, as you call them.
Thank you.
Other questions?
Did you want to go virtually? I didn't know.
Chat so far.
Good afternoon. Thank you for being here. My name is Shannon Manji, and I'm the Administrative Assistant for Academic Affairs. In looking at your LinkedIn profile, very nice, by the way, I noticed that you do consulting work. And my question in reference to that is, will you be continuing that if you do receive the vice president position? And if so, how much time would that take away from your role here at the campus? Thank you.
So I don't do very frequent consulting work. I do consulting work on an infrequent basis, but I am a consultant. Should I be offered this role, fingers crossed, right? That would not be one of the things I would be doing. Yes.
Dr. Kahlon, what is something that has changed as a result of the pandemic that is never going to change back?
Oh, what didn't asks? I think the expectations of the learner and I think the stress we have experienced from the pandemic and the fear that the pandemic has induced that things could change on a dime. Everybody was cruising along just fine, and then suddenly everything fell apart, right? And in higher ed, I do believe the changes are coming in that learners are looking for more flexible ways to learn. They're not always ready to come to campus, or they're not always ready to do asynchronous online learning. So what is the happy medium between the two? Things have changed for the employers as well, because they're not able to find employees. And if they are finding employees, some of them are not ready for the workforce. Things have changed for faculty as well, because faculty have had to struggle with the pandemic just as much as the students have had to struggle. I was talking earlier in a previous meeting with somebody with the faculty members, that when the pandemic hit some of our faculty, when I was at ACC, some of our faculty didn't even have computers, so they've had to struggle to get back. And I think what's not going to get back is not keeping the learner at the forefront of everything that we offer. And also what's not going to get back is this feeling of security that we have. That, we have these programs, we have the learners, everything's gonna be okay. I think we're gonna have to continually keep evolving to meet the needs of the learners, to meet the needs of the employers, to meet the needs of the transfer students who are transferring, and also enrollments. We were seeing drops in enrollments even before the pandemic started. But I think the pandemic accelerated that, because there were these learners who lost their jobs, who moved back in with parents or with family or with friends, and who said, what do I want to do from here? Do I really want to go back where I was? And I think there's got to be something that keeps that mental health of the learners at the forefront, but also keeps the mental health of the faculty at the forefront. So there's a lot, I can't pinpoint one thing that has changed, but the ripple effect of all those changes has been big. And I think in the future, what's going to happen is everyone's going to have to work together to serve those learners and those faculty. You know, it's not going to be easy to recover to pre-pandemic times without the collaboration of everyone.
Dr. Kahlon. Dr. Kahlon, there's a question. Why PBCC? And what excites you about our college, and how do you think you can positively impact our college students, staff, and administration?
Thank you. Yeah, so I have heard a lot about Maricopa County colleges, and I've followed Maricopa County colleges for a long time. PBCC is, I like a lot of the inclusive things that are happening at PBCC. For example, the latest one, the partnership you have with Fresh Start Women and with Jackson Hewitt Tax Service. And I also like in your annual report, you mentioned the TACT. And you also mentioned the futures, PBCC futures. Very inspiring, all those. I'm inspired by how PBCC is committed to the learner and is committed to the success of the learner. And I'm also inspired by how PBCC is reaching out to the community and community organizations and trying to, serve them best where they belong, and going forward, looking at ways to serve the learner best through what should we do next. So it's a very forward-thinking approach at the college, and I really like that. I watched the Amazon Prime series, the college tour series, and the two students from PBCC who were profiled. It was very fascinating to listen to their stories because that is representative of how the entire student community is supported here. And I believe that my past experiences in being committed to the learner, building programs that serve the learner, that serve the employer, my huge strength in building partnerships, in building trust, in talking to employers, building community partnerships, I do believe will serve PBCC very well. And I bring all of those strengths to the table. I bring an innovative attitude, I bring a learning mindset. The need for the day is innovation, and when I say innovation, I'm not talking about innovation that something new that you heard of and you say we're implementing it next week. No, I'm talking about intentional, thoughtful, holistic innovation that is done with the engagement of all the stakeholders, and that is done with results in mind. What are the outcomes we're hoping to achieve from this? And then build innovative models. So I bring a very innovative mindset, and I do believe I will serve PBCC well as an administrator. And I also know I'm an inherently collaborating person who builds trust with my teams, and that will serve the learners well and the faculty well.
Next question. Have you had the opportunity to work with the college athletic department and its student athletes in the academic arena?
Unfortunately, the colleges that I have been at have not had an athletics department. So I have not had the opportunity to work with an athletics department, but that doesn't mean I cannot, because I will learn and I will lean on my peers to help me get used to that, and very quickly I will be up to speed to working with the athletics department.
What is an experience you've had as a faculty member that influences your leadership of other faculty members?
Experience I've had as a faculty member that influences my leadership of other faculty members. I think the biggest experience of mine as a faculty member that influences my leadership is my service on Faculty Senate, because that allowed me to interact with faculty from all over the college and also understand what their concerns were. In addition, the mentoring I've done of faculty members faculty members who were new to the department and help them grow. That has been very useful and insightful and has helped me grow to lead faculty. And also helping faculty members prepare curriculum that is inclusive and curriculum that is focused on the end result, which is mastery of the subject.
My name is Lucia Bermudez. I'm the communication faculty and chair for academic assessment here at the college. So I work closely with our accreditation team. And so I know you mentioned that you served as a member for like one of your accreditation projects, but can you tell us more about your experience? Have you served as an accreditation liaison or officer at your institution?
No, the institutions where I have worked, the accreditation office is a separate office, so the accreditation liaison is located in that office. But accreditation teams are all around the college. And I have been on the core member of an accreditation team. I've written substantive change. So those are my experiences with the accreditation. And I know that to run accreditation, that's what I would do, is work with the accreditation liaison and build the accreditation teams so that each team is responsible for one aspect of the accreditation and collecting the evidence and collecting the narratives for the accreditation.
Thank you, Dr. Kahlon. We have time for maybe one more question.
I didn't want to cut anybody off. Thank you. What strategies can you bring to PBCC to not only build the culture and community at our main campus, but at our satellite campus at Black Mountain as well?
Thanks. So ACC had several satellite campuses. We had satellite campuses at high schools, et cetera. I think the strategy remains the same, is to be very open, very transparent, and visit the center, of course, not be absent leader, but be a present leader, and look at what the needs of the center are, and based on those needs, see how that center will grow and build strategies to grow that center based on the expertise of the people at the center. But the most important thing is to make that center feel like they matter, and make the people at the center feel like they matter and they are an integral part of the college and not just a satellite of the college. To make them feel that they are just as important to the success of the PBCC family as the PBCC main campus.
So thank you all for your questions. We'd now like to give Dr. Kahlon 5 minutes to provide closing thoughts and remarks. Again, Dr. Stella Perez will serve as the timekeeper and will let you know when you have 1 minute left. So with that, please proceed with your closing thoughts and remarks.
Thank you. So I'll keep this short. I think it's been an honor to be here today, and it would be an honor to be selected for the role. I do believe my past experiences and my commitment to student success in whichever way, looking at innovative models, looking at traditional models, marrying the traditional and the innovative together. I do believe that my philosophy of keeping open communications and looking at faculty and staff as an integral cog of the wheels that drive a college are plus points that I bring to this position. Community colleges are the ultimate key to the American dream. Former poet laureate of the US, Kay Ryan, she wrote that, and I'm paraphrasing, she says, right in your community, there's a community college working day and night without much financial incentive, changing lives every day. And she says, I cannot think of a more egalitarian machine. And that's exactly what community colleges are. They serve the closest hyper-local communities, and they do indeed significantly impact lives. And particularly, like I mentioned, the Fresh Start Women, there is lots of research that's done. You educate a man, you educate one person, you educate the mother, you educate the whole family, because the ripple effects are so huge. Building relationships with employers has been my strong strength from the beginning, relationships with community and building relationships with state agencies, et cetera. So I bring a lot of those collaborative strengths and bring a lot of experience in shared governance, experience in curriculum development, curriculum evaluation, curriculum assessment, and the whole package. And I can work with any role within the role of academic affairs and work across the border across the hall with enrollment management. And I can be vulnerable when I need to be. When I don't know something, there is never a moment where I'll say, well, I don't know it, but you're going to do it my way, because I'm going to find out the answer. I'm going to find a good answer that is an answer that serves the learner best. And that's my story.
Thank you.
So thank you again, Dr. Kahlon.
Thank you.
And thank you everyone for your time and engagement today. On the screen, you will find a QR code to access the forum feedback form. This form is also available via the search site. Please complete your feedback by Tuesday, December 6th at noon. As a reminder, all feedback is to be based solely on today's forum, and all comments are subject to public disclosure under the Arizona Freedom of Information Act. This concludes this community forum for Paradise Valley Community College's Vice President of Academic Affairs search. We will return to start the next forum in 10 minutes. Thank you again for joining us.